Passing arguments by value. By default in C#, arguments are passed by value, which is the most common case scenario. This implies that a duplicate of the value is generated when it is passed into that method. Let's create a variable and we will call it integer y equals 10. Let's create a function static void output result. And that will take integer of maybe x. What it will do is to increment x plus 1, and then I'll put the result on the console, which is x. Let's even call this y so we know that it's copied and not the same variable. Okay, so we call output result, we pass y, we console right line our y variable. And let's see how it goes. .NET Run. Let's see in the debugger actually what happens here. Okay, let's see in the debugger. So we go and start debugging. We declared our variable y. It is of type integer, and we assigned the value for that variable 10. Okay, so we go inside that function and we copied the value of 10 into the variable y, which is the parameter of that function. So we didn't mutate this variable, which is y, it's 10. We copied that variable into this. We incremented, let's see. Okay, so we have 10. Now it's 11, and we output that 11 on the console. I want to step out of the function, and I have output on the console the 10. Basically, that value was not changed at all. That's why the y, the second y is just that variable. But the y that we passed into this function, it was incremented by 1, and the result was outputted on the console. So that's why it's 11. So that means that assigning y a new value doesn't change the content of that value because they're both reside in different memory locations. This y is different, plays in different location in memory, and this y in another. But when we pass a reference type argument, it's not being copied. It just creates another variable, but it's still pointing to the same object. Let me give you an example. We create string builder, type SB, and we will instantiate it, new string builder. Okay, so it doesn't know where we have to bring it here. Okay, now it's we're using system.txt, and there is a string builder class. Now let's create a variable static void and txt. Then it takes string builder SB. Let's even call it a little bit different, SB result. SB result, append a line. And let's do I just appended a line here. And after that, we simply console.writeLine .sb result. WriteLine SB result. Okay, now I want to also console.writeLine SB. And that is SB. And let me even do it better. SB result. And we put it here. So we just simply see that nothing has been changed because it's a reference type. It's still pointing to the same object. So we run .NET run command. And that is giving us, oh, we didn't put anything. We appended the text SB result. We're not calling that method. Let me call that method first. So we do append text. And let's pass our variable, which is SB equals to null. We do .NET run. All right, so as we see that firstly, we created that variable, we go into this function, we created a new one, but it's still pointing to the same object. That's why I appended the text and I console.writeLine that variable. And we console.writeLine this variable as well, but it's still pointing to the same object. That's why I appended it and it's still there. It's appended the line for one object, because it's a reference type, it's not copied here. It is pointing to the same SB variable, which is located on the heap. We're not copying it. We created another variable, but it's still pointing this variable SB, which is created outside of the function. And then when we append text for this variable and output the result on the console, it's still pointing to the variable SB. And when we appended text, we console.writeLine this variable. We go to console.writeLine SB, and that is also appended here because it references the same object on the heap.